Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome to 30 Before 1. In this series, we're basically going to see whether or not we can get to level 30 before we finish the level 1 quest. Specifically, the level 1 MSQ quest in Final Fantasy XIV. I am doing the voiceover after recording it because honestly, it would be very, very strange and lots of weird cuts otherwise. So you'll see that I'm basically just going to be talking about what I did in the last, I think it was 2 hours worth for this particular episode, where we go from level 1 to level 10. We're going to talk about what I did and how I did it. Obviously, just had to sort my HUD out because default HUD is not great. But we're going to go through here. We're going to speed through this as quickly as possible because you can't skip past the start of this quest. But effectively, the idea behind this entire little experiment of mine is to see how much effort and how much work goes into getting level 30 before you finish the level 1 quest close to home. There's a few little bits of tutorial you've got to do first, as you can see, because you can't actually leave. I did try to leave to see whether or not I could actually get out then, but you can't. So I had to get through that bit first, and then now we're actually into the game. So this is where the test starts. The first thing you want to do is you want to go and get your, as you can see here, your job quest. Those are going to be incredibly useful for this little test of mine. They're kind of the crux of how you're going to progress, because you can't progress through the main story. On top of that, the biggest reason for it is because, oh yeah, obviously you need to go through there and learn some basic things, but if you go through this quest first, you unlock something that's very important and is going to be the main source of leveling, at least for the first half of every block of 10. Without it, you're pretty much screwed, to be honest. So you'll notice, there you go, right there. In fact, it should bring something up now. There you go, hunting log obtained. That is by far the most important part of this. So now that I've got that, you'll see that I can go in and got all these little symbols above certain creatures, certain mobs, certain enemies, whatever you want to call them. Those are basically my hunting targets. If I kill enough of those, basically I get a nice big chunk of EXP. That's how the hunting log works, and being that this is without any MSQ, so any, for those who don't know, main scenario quests, so no storyline, I don't have access to a lot of the leveling mechanics in this game. The best ways to level are basically dungeons and story quests, and I don't have access to either of those because dungeons are unlocked via the story. So in this entire experiment that I'm doing, because I'm absolutely crazy, I basically only have, and I'm saying basically a lot, I do apologise for that, but I only have access to fates, which are random events, side quests, hunting logs, and just general mobs. Of those 4, mobs give almost no EXP outside of the hunting log, so that's kind of irrelevant. So that leaves me with 3 ways to level up, and that's it. So as you can see, I basically spent a very long time going around trying to fill out this hunting log. And you'll also notice that I'm very quickly realising a bit of a problem here. I'm running everywhere. Now, the problem with that is it takes a long time. Now, there are mounts in FF14. There's a lot of very cool mounts in FF14. But again, there's a problem with that. You see, you get your mounts, or at least access to use your mounts, at the level 20 storyline quest. Final Fantasy XIV is very much about the story. 90% of things unlock through story progression. If not, actually everything does, because you have to progress past the start of the story to unlock basically anything. So I cannot use a mount. Instead, I've got to run around and do this all the way to level 30. At level 30, you get your job quest, which is where, as I'm starting as an archer, I would become a bard. I want to do that before level 1 because I think it'll be interesting to see how high I get up to going through A Realm Reborn on this alt character. Now you'll notice here, this is where I kind of slowed down and started being a bit more careful. The reasons for that is I'm going up against a level 9 enemy and I'm level 6. Those 3 levels actually make a really big difference into how likely you are to survive. And it's also the reason why I started with an archer. The ability to kite the enemy, as you can see there, to run around and attack without actually being hit that much is pretty crucial to this. So then once I'd done that, yeah, there you go. I went and got my next Archers Guild kind of job class. Again, as I said, very important. It takes a long time, but they're really, really helpful. Without them, to be honest, you're going to get quite stuck very quickly. They give you access to a lot of new skills or gear, and also they give you quite good EXP, which is why you'll now see me going out and doing these quests where I have to kill a whole bunch of creatures. There's quite a lot of them to kill, but the amount of EXP I'll get for the end of the quest is really, really high, and that's what really matters. Along the way, you'll also notice that I basically stopped at every single fate that I found. The reason for that is because the fates, they're quite quick, they don't take a lot of effort, but they give a good amount of EXP, and I basically need to get as much EXP as I can from any option that I've got available. There's also another issue that we found very quickly when I was doing this little test of mine. You'll notice in the bottom right corner, I have 135 gil, which means I can't teleport anywhere. I simply can't afford it. So one thing you might have noticed there is that I went and I had a look at level 1 quests and realised I had very little EXP. The reason for that is because at this point I'm level 9, and being that I'm level 9 and used up I've basically done fates, I've used up I've used up all the hunting log in fact, and I haven't got any more class quests until level 10. Side quests are the only way for me to really get any decent EXP, and I can't do that in Gridania itself, so I've had to come out to Shroud again, to one of the higher level areas, and do the quests around there because they get higher EXP. This then basically ended how I got to level 10, as you'll see. There's a hell of a lot of questing running around, and I will be joining in a whole bunch of fates. Basically, again, getting absolutely every single last shred of EXP that I can, because it's not a quick grind in the slightest. Level 10, or up to level 10, is the quickest that we're going to get, which is why there's 10 levels in this, and the next video is only going to have 5, but it still takes a long time. So you'll see I'm going around, gathering, killing everything that I can, doing fates, and that's basically how you have to do this. It works quite well, but as you'll see at the end of, I think the next quest is when the game kind of trolled me a little bit with the XP. I think it's the next one anyway. But at this point, I got into a bit of a rhythm, going back and forward, and yes, here it is. So you'll notice level 9. I wasn't sure what to get here. I think I ended up going for the gear in the end. Yeah, I did. I went for the gear in the end. And then I'm 15 EXP, 15 points away from level 10. So all I had to do was go out and just kill this one silly little microchew. Poor little thing just standing by itself. And at that point, there's your level 10. And you can see in the top left, it still says closer to home because I still haven't completed that quest yet. So yeah, as I said, next episode we're going to try and get from 10 to 15 each. I'm going to try in each episode to get at least 5, or no, probably at max 5 levels really, because it's going to get slower and slower. But we're going to work and keep going until we hit level 30 before we finish that quest, at which point we'll unlock Bard, and then that'll lead us into a nice little extra bit of content that I'm planning moving forward. Specifically, we're going to look at whether or not we can go through a Realm Reborn entirely solo. But until then, thank you guys for watching. Check out my Twitch if you want more Final Fantasy content. And all that's left for me to say, as always, is bye.